What is up everyone? Welcome to my channel. My name is Mariah May. I also go by the name The Glamour. I'm a pro wrestler from the UK and I make YouTube videos. Today's video is going to be my kind of first reactions to cutting and my tips and advice for anyone who is going to have a calorific deficit anytime soon. So a little bit of context and backstory about me. Obviously I'm a wrestler. Over lockdown I did bulk to put on some size, so I've been bulking for almost a year, which is way too long, but I bulked for like a year. In January I just started my cutting, more cardio, more high intensity stuff, trying to get back into ring shape anyway. So I'm having a cut and I thought it'd be cool to make a video and give you guys my kind of reactions to it. Thank God I didn't film this in the first few weeks because it would not have been fun, but now that I'm kind of settled into the routine, I'm feeling really good with it. I want to tell you guys my reactions and my tips to anyone who is looking to cut soon and give you guys some advice that was really helpful to me. First and most important thing is to calculate your macros correctly. You can do this online using a macros calculator. Just put in your height and your weight and your goals and it will healthily and correctly tell you how much you should be losing per week and give you your macros, so that's how many calories you're going to intake every day, and divide it into fat and protein and carbs, which is really important. It might sound a little bit complicated, but once you get into it, it is pretty straightforward. This is really important, obviously to see progress, but also to make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way. I think sometimes people think with dieting, you just completely cut down your calories and you can't eat anything. That's not true, that's not the case. So it's really important to calculate these and do this correctly because your health physically and mentally really does rely on you eating the right amount. So just be aware of that when you are calculating it. Make sure you do it correctly. Use a few different calculators if you want to kind of try and get the most accurate result. I found mine was the same across the board with the first few that came up on Google, and it's been treating me very well. Once you have these calories, you want to put them into your Fitness Pal. I use my Fitness Pal, it's completely free. There is a premium version that's a little bit more fancy, so that is an option, but for me, I don't want to pay for that, so I'm just using the free version and it's really good for me. You put in your fat, protein and your carbs in percentages. You can put in your calories total for the day and then you want to kind of fit that. My advice with all of this is to try and put your food in before you start your day. I know this sounds a little bit strange, but really, especially when you're cutting, you do kind of want to plan your food, and there's a reason for this. As I said at the start of the video, there isn't a reason you can't have food that you like. So if you do really want to have a beer or a wine in the evening, for me, I like to have a little bit of chocolate or perhaps a little biscuit in the evening. I always put that in first because it means that I can work my other food around the treat that I want. For me, it's a great incentive. I look forward to, after a busy day, getting into bed with a cup of tea and a biscuit. It's just a nice thing to look forward to. You can fit it into your calories. I think sometimes people think when you cut, you're not allowed chocolate, you're not allowed anything. That is not the case. So whatever it is that you like, perhaps it's even a meal that you like, you can fit it in, put it in at the start of your day, and then you can kind of work around it, or better yet, put your whole meal plan in at the start. You know it fits exactly, you know what you have to eat, when you have to eat it, and it's a really nice organized way to have your day. With cutting as well, I definitely recommend spreading out your macros. There's two reasons for this. The first and most important is obviously that it is the best way to do it for your body to kind of digest it, and the second thing is for your hunger. It is really good not to kind of just have all your calories straight away. You do want to spread it out. The first few weeks are hard, I will say that, but it does get easier once your body gets used to it. I mean, for me, I worked so hard in the gym and then having less energy and being on a calorific deficit was pretty tough the first few weeks. I adjusted pretty quickly because if you have a goal, you have to be focused, you have to go for it. And now it actually feels great. I really look forward to my meals. I enjoy eating more because when I was bulking, I kind of didn't like food as much. I found it incredibly difficult. So I really look forward to my meals. I know when my meals are, when my snacks are. Shakes are my best friend. And I do definitely recommend putting in your meals at the start of your day, or at least any snacks or chocolate or whatever you want. Put that in first and work around it. That way you won't go over your calories. If you do go over them, don't be too hard on yourself. Obviously for cutting, you want to be hitting that goal, but don't be too hard on yourself. You are in a deficit anyway, and if you're working out as well, you are burning calories. Obviously it's best to hit them, but don't beat yourself up about it and be too hard on yourself because it is a marathon. Another good tip is drinking a lot of water. This is really good for your body, but also it does kind of stop you from kind of craving snacks and whatnot. Drink a lot of water. You should always be doing this anyway, especially with working out. My next tip is to write down your weight and take progress pictures. Now, I never live by the scales. I'm a wrestler. Your weight can vary for so many different reasons. It could be water weight. If it's your time of the month, you might weigh more. There are just so many reasons it could change. But just for health reasons, I do like to write it down just to have a note on it. If I ever go to the doctors, we can see if anything's ever changed. You can kind of see if you're on the right track or not as well. Don't hold yourself to it too strictly, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone is different. I'm not a health expert. I'm just a wrestler. This is kind of my journey and my experience, and I'm kind of sharing it with you guys. But my tip is definitely to write down your weight. Don't hold yourself to it too strongly, but just have a record of it and do progress pictures. Now with progress pictures, you might see a bit of a change in the first few weeks where you drop a lot of water weight, and then you might become a little bit stagnant, and that can be a bit like, oh, am I making progress or not? But it is a marathon, as I said. It doesn't happen overnight, and if it does, you're not doing it right, and it's not healthy for your body in the long run. So it's not a bad thing that it's taking time. Try and take a progress picture every week, flexed and unflexed, and from the side and the back and the front, just to get an idea of what you're looking like. And then over the course of a few months, you can compare the pictures. I try not to compare them straight away, but I can't really help myself. Yeah, as I said, you won't see that change immediately, so try and compare it every kind of 2-3 months and have a look at how you're doing. It might be a case that if your weight hasn't changed too much and your progress hasn't changed too much, maybe your macros aren't working for you. You know your body, you know what's best. Maybe your body needs more, maybe it needs less, and there's always time to go back and reevaluate and reassess. At the moment, my calories are working really well for me. Should that change, I will definitely go back in and change things up, because it might not be right for me. You have to listen to your body and what your body is telling you, and you'll know if something's not right. And then my last few tips is to not overbuy junk food. But as I said, there isn't a reason you can't have a bit of chocolate or a biscuit, or, you know, maybe like a beer or anything like that. There isn't a reason you can't have it, but I would say don't stock up on it. I know it's obviously a bargain and you're doing less trips at the moment, especially in a pandemic. I'm trying to go to the supermarket as little as possible. Apart from to get meat, I'm trying to go as little as possible. So it is really tough at the moment. So these rules are a little bit different right now, but I would say in future, try not to kind of buy a big batch of junk food, because there's always a temptation when you're hungry to go in there and then eat it and eat. And you know, you could just help yourself out by not having the temptation there. I'm really disciplined, so I'm actually all right. I do have all my chocolate in the room, and I'm like, I'm fine, because I know what I want, I know what my goals are, so I'm fine. But for a lot of people, if you just don't have the temptation there, you do help yourself out. But if you can, just buy a little less, and then the temptation isn't there. And my final tip, and this is just something that personally really helped me and my body, and it was really cutting down on gluten. It was swapping out whole milk to skimmed milk, and swapping out butter to the lightly salted butter and the lightest versions of things. And the reason I do this is because I don't think diet should be such a big shock to your daily routine. I think the reason that people, I don't include athletes in this because I think the discipline comes from it being the job. Whereas normal people who might be looking to diet, I think they dread it because they think, I can't have anything nice, I have to sacrifice everything, I have to completely change my meals. And that's not the case at all. So I think if you can subsidize your milk for the skim version, it means if there's something you have with milk in it, you don't have to cut it out, you don't have to get rid of it. Same goes with butter and all these little things that do go into your meals and do help make it what it is. I love soy sauce, so I have the unsalted version because I just love it. I always use it on everything. It's one of my favorites, but you don't have to sacrifice that. If you can get the lower salt versions, no sugar versions, etc, etc. For the most part, they are pretty much as nice. Some aren't quite as good, but you are dieting and there is a little bit of sacrifice. But I think it's really helpful to know that you don't have to completely throw out the window everything that you love, everything that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a massive shock to the system. There are alternatives. If you look around the supermarkets, there are a ton of ways you can swap things in and out. Sugar and salt is so bloating, and you might find that something that's kind of making you bloat. For me, I was really puffy and bloated when I was eating a lot of salt and sugar, so I really tried to cut that down because I don't feel good, and I was just so bloated as well. There are a ton of things you can swap out, and you might find that when you kind of hit a maintenance weight that you want to be at, you might not bother swapping them back in because it's been so helpful to you. Those are my tips and first reactions to cutting. I'm feeling really good. The first week was tough. I wouldn't say I was upset, I was just hungry, but I understood why I was doing it, and now I fell into a really good routine. I'm really enjoying my food again. I'm looking forward to my meals. My day works out really well where I'm super busy and then I just stop for a meal. It's just really nicely flowing now. I feel way better than bulking already, which is crazy, I know. I kind of look forward to seeing how the progress goes and then getting onto maintenance eventually. I will take you guys through on the journey with my Body by Mariah May, which I will link down below. It is my fitness page on Instagram where I post my workouts, any recipes and meals and things like that. So we'll keep you guys updated on that journey and kind of get you guys to work out with me. Working out with a wrestler is a little bit different, as you might imagine, so I think it would be cool to share that with you guys. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. If you have any tips for me or any cool recipes you know of, please do let me know. I'm always looking to try new things and to make it more exciting, so if you do have any tips, advice, recipes, please do drop them down below. I'd be curious to hear them, and I'm sure everyone else would. As I said at the start of the video, please be careful and be safe with this. This is a calorific deficit. It's not a crash diet, so I hope my tips are helpful for you if you do want to cut and do it healthily. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye!